Today you join me in beautiful, sunny Santa Barbara. Look at that view. And we're checking out the brand new Mazda CX-50. This is Mazda's new, more rugged crossover. So this is not a direct replacement for the CX-5, but it's rather a more lifestyle-focused alternative that's supposed to let you do more exploring in nature and in the outdoors. And let's dive right into the powertrain to start. So you have a choice of two engines, both 2.5 liter, either turbo or naturally aspirated. The base powertrain, which is a 2.5 naturally aspirated, makes 187 horsepower and 186 pound-feet of torque. If you opt for a turbo model like what you see here, that will boost your output to 256 horsepower and 320 pound-feet of torque, assuming that you're running the car on 93 octane. If you don't, if you run it on 87, then it will derate itself to 227 horsepower, and it's constantly measuring the quality of your fuel. So your actual output will always be somewhere in that range. Both of those engines are mated to a 6-speed automatic transmission, and all-wheel drive is standard on all models of the CX-50. Now, the fuel economy for the base engine is a little bit better. You're going to get 24 city, 30 highway, 27 combined. If you go for the turbo, you lose a little bit, so 23 city, 29 highway, and 25 combined. There are also engine modes for sport, off-road, and towing in addition to your normal mode. And speaking of towing, you get 2,000 pounds of towing capacity on the base engine, and if you opt for a turbo, that boosts your tow rating up to 3,500 pounds. Now let's go ahead and take a look at some of the interior. Opening up the passenger door here, you can see a lot of nice materials. These seats are relatively stiff, but they're comfortable, and the quality is definitely there. Mazda has been moving up market, and you can see a lot of good stitching. It's the same on the dash here, and soft touch materials in a lot of different important points of the interior. Your touch points are also good. The feel of the steering wheel, your buttons, your shifter, everything along those lines is nice. There are a few cheaper plastics, things like that, but they're generally put in places where you're not going to interact with it as much. Although down here by the glove box and below your climate controls, you can see just a little bit more of a simple plastic material. And if I power up our screen here, you can see this is a 10.25 inch screen that you control primarily with your dial right here. It's not my favorite system of controlling a screen, but what is nice is that you get a lot of standard features. So this 10.25 inch screen comes standard on all but the very base model of this car, and all models of the CX-50 get wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto standard. You also get a lot of standard features, safety features like lane keep assist, blind spot monitoring, of course a backup camera because that's standard on all cars now, automatic emergency braking, radar cruise control, and you get Mazda's Connect, which gets you Wi-Fi in your car. You can also remote start and remote unlock. You can use your app to find where your vehicle is located. So, unsurprisingly, tons and tons of tech. Also, you have a power opening sunroof that goes all the way over into the passenger rear row right there. So, nice, good luxury features. If you open this up, it's a power lift gate. And with the seats up, you have 31 cubic feet of storage space back here. If you fold the seats down, like so, 60-40 split, and with both seats folded down, you have 56 cubic feet of space. They don't fold quite perfectly flat, but pretty close to it. Now let's talk a little bit about styling on this car because, of course, like I mentioned, it's meant to be more rugged And the looks of this vehicle reflect that. So you can see a lot of plastic cladding here that's meant to signify a bit more of a rugged off-road focused vehicle. And in my personal opinion, there's a lot of vehicles that don't do cladding well. I would argue that the CX-50 does a good job of using cladding in its favor. Something else that really stands out to me is that when turned on, these light up amber, which gives it just a little bit more of a rugged off-roader appearance. And then these vents that are both in the front, and if we walk around to the back, you can see a similar styling element here. That lends to this design a lot. It makes these fender flares in the body look almost like this is a factory wide body. So overall, really, really sharp looking car inside and out. One thing though that I am a bit disappointed about are the 20-inch wheels that come standard on all turbo models of this car and the very top model of the naturally aspirated engine. Those 20-inch wheels are not going to be as capable off-road as the more base model cars' 17-inch wheels. You can see there's just not a ton of sidewall here. We're of course based in the Rocky Mountains of Colorado, and those mountains are rocky, and those rocks can wreak havoc on a thin sidewall tire like this, like we've proven many times before. So that is just not the most off-road ready component, but there is a Meridian edition of this car coming that will get you a set of 18-inch wheels, as well as, oh look at that, there's one driving by. The Meridian edition will get you a set of 18-inch wheels as well as a roof rack and a hood graphic. Pricing on that isn't revealed yet, and that model is coming later down the line. But if you want to take your CX-50 off-road and actually do some camping with it, that's going to be the model to get, because as I said, 20-inch wheels are just not very off-road capable. This vehicle weighs in at about 3,900 pounds on the turbo model, 3,700 on the non-turbo, and it has an overall pretty large footprint, especially with these fender flares. The car is 81 inches wide with the mirrors folded out. So as far as a crossover goes, it's a relatively large one. And finally, I have to get on to the price. Starting price is $26,800. So it's very comparable in price to the CX-5, and in my opinion, a very, very good alternative to the CX-5. It's fresh styling, and if you plan to do more camping trips, spend a little bit more time outside, you want to drive up to the trailhead, take your mountain bike, those kinds of things, this is going to be a slightly better setup than the CX-5. Because it's got a slightly better all-wheel drive system, it is a little bit more rugged. The CX-5, granted, has a better rear suspension setup. This is torsion beam, so the CX-5 is going to be a little bit better on-road, but the CX-50 has more ground clearance. It's 8.6 inches on the turbo model and 8.3 on the non-turbo. So it depends on what your use case is, but at just about $1,000 more than the CX-5, this would be my personal pick. Let me know what you think in the comments below, and we'll see you guys in the next video.